A single dad sat quietly in seat 12F until the F-22 Squadron heard the call sign Titan 1. Opening hook grabs viewers instantly. No one noticed the man in seat 12F. He didn't wear a uniform. He didn't speak loudly. He didn't look important. He just sat there, hands folded, eyes tired, a small boy sleeping against his shoulder, while 30,000 feet above the earth, a routine flight carried dozens of strangers toward another ordinary day. But somewhere far below, inside a secure military command center, an alarm suddenly went silent. Not because the danger was gone, but because a name appeared on the screen. A call sign that hadn't been spoken in years. A call sign that made hardened pilots freeze mid-breath. Titan 1. And in that moment, every rule changed. If you had walked past seat 12F, you would have seen nothing special, just a single father holding his son like he was afraid the world might take him too. What you wouldn't see was the war he had already survived. The man's name was Daniel Carter. He boarded the plane last. Not because he was late, but because he waited until everyone else had taken their seats. He preferred it that way. Less attention. Less noise. Less explaining. His son, Noah, was 6 years old. Small for his age. Too quiet. The kind of child who learned early that silence was safer than questions. Daniel buckled Noah in first, adjusting the belt gently, the way you do when you're scared of hurting something fragile. Noah's fingers clutched a worn toy jet, its paint chipped, one wing cracked, but loved beyond repair. "Daddy," Noah whispered as the engines hummed to life, "are planes ever scared?" Daniel smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Only when they forget what they're built for. Noah nodded like that made sense and slowly fell asleep against his chest. Around them, life moved on. A businessman complained about legroom. A flight attendant laughed with a coworker. A woman 2 rows ahead scrolled endlessly through photos she didn't remember taking. No one noticed Daniel's posture, too straight for a tired dad. No one noticed the faint scar running beneath his collar. No one noticed how his eyes kept tracking the emergency exits. And that's how Daniel liked it. Because the last time people noticed him, things burned. Years ago, Daniel Carter had been something else. Once, he wasn't a single dad. Once, he wasn't invisible. Once, his call sign echoed through the skies. Titan 1. The man who flew where radar failed. The pilot trusted when missions couldn't fail. The leader who brought everyone home until the day he didn't. That day had taken everything. His squadron. His career. And eventually, his wife. Grief didn't arrive loudly. It came quietly, like turbulence you feel before you understand what's happening. Daniel left the Air Force. He stopped talking to old friends. He learned how to cook simple meals, how to braid hair he no longer had to braid, how to answer Noah's questions without breaking. Flying became something he endured, not something he loved. Then the plane jolted. Not turbulence. Something sharper. The captain's voice came over the intercom, calm but tight. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've encountered a minor technical issue. Please remain seated." Daniel's hand instinctively tightened around Noah. His eyes moved. Fuel indicators wrong. Engine vibration uneven. Altitude dropping too fast. This wasn't minor. And deep beneath the plane, in a restricted airspace, sensors lit up like fireworks. Unidentified aircraft. Loss of control. Civilian flight at risk. A young radar officer swallowed hard as his screen refreshed. "Sir," he said to his commander, "the transponder's behaving like a combat failure, but the pilot response codes don't match any civilian training." The commander leaned forward. "Pull archived call sign recognition." The screen blinked. Paused. Then displayed a name no one expected to see again. Titan 1, Legacy Authorization Active. The room went silent. One pilot stood up slowly. Another whispered, "That's impossible." The commander exhaled. "Scramble the F-22s." Back on the plane, Noah stirred. Daddy, something's wrong. Daniel closed his eyes. He had promised himself he was done. But the sky had other plans. They didn't expect calm. And they didn't expect the voice that came through their headsets, steady, familiar, unmistakable. Command, this is Titan 1. Every pilot froze. The lead F-22 nearly missed a correction. The commander dropped his pen. Confirm identity, Command said, though everyone already knew. I'm aboard the compromised civilian aircraft, Daniel continued. C-12F. Engine 2 instability with cascading avionics failure. I can help land her, but I need airspace clearance and escort. Silence. Then, quietly, almost respectfully, clearance granted. Titan 1, welcome back. Inside the cabin, panic had begun to ripple. Oxygen masks dropped. A woman screamed. The businessman stopped complaining. Daniel stood up. He handed Noah to the nearest flight attendant. Take him. No matter what happens, don't let him see the cockpit. Noah's eyes filled with tears. Daddy. Daniel pressed his forehead to his son's. Remember what I told you about planes? Noah nodded. They're scared only when they forget what they're built for. Daniel walked forward. When the cockpit door opened, the pilots stared at him in disbelief. I can help, Daniel said calmly. And somehow, they believed him. Minutes stretched like hours. F-22s flanked the plane, guiding, stabilizing, protecting. Daniel's hands remembered what his heart tried to forget. He spoke in numbers and instincts, in trust and precision. The landing was hard. But it was safe. When the wheels touched the runway, the cabin erupted into tears, prayers, and applause. Daniel didn't smile. He just slumped into the nearest seat, exhausted. Later, on the tarmac, Noah ran into his arms. You remembered, Noah said. Daniel held him tight. So did the sky. News cameras flashed. Officials waited. Pilots saluted. But Daniel declined interviews. He had already proven who he was. Not a legend. Not a hero. Just a father who answered the call one last time. As the F-22s flew overhead in silent formation, Noah looked up. Daddy, were you scared? Daniel smiled softly. Yes, he said. But I remembered what I was built for. Final message leaves a strong, inspiring impact. Sometimes the world tries to bury who you were under who you've become. But when the moment comes, when someone needs you, when the call is made, you don't have to be loud. You just have to remember. Because even a quiet man in C-12F can still shake the sky.